Hello, and welcome to another episode of Improperly Packaged, where we discuss all things movies, TV, games, whatever. I'm Jordan. With me is Luke. How are you doing, Luke?
I'm doing well. In that Christmas spirit.
That was really good. Merry Christmas.
I never know how to start a podcast.
No,
I don't know
you.
what to
I
say.
think you
I don't
do.
want to say, "What's up, guys?
What's
Welcome
up,
to
guys?
the show."
Maybe you can clap your hands
Generic.
together. What's up,
So I go
guys?
super goofy, apparently. That's my alternative.
That's good. I think it's a good alternative. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Christmas. If you're a real faithful listener and you're listening to this as soon as it goes up, it is
First of
Christmas
all,
Eve.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We appreciate it.
Yes. It's the time of the year for gratitude, giving and receiving. So we receive your your listens and we give you
Yep.
more content.
We inject it in the ear hole.
Yes, absolutely. Oh man. So you ready for it? You ready for Christmas? You got all your Christmas shopping and all the stuff you need to do?
I think there might be a few gifts
Oof.
purchased, but pretty much got everything for my wife. So
That's the good one. That's
the tough thing with my wife is her birthday is 4 days after Christmas.
Ooh, that's true.
So yeah, I always struggle. Like, do I leave a gift out? Do I buy her something after Christmas?
Merry birthday to you.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's like I guess her expectations, like from what I've seen, people who have their birthday so close to Christmas, they seem to have expectations that
They've
they're
been let down year after year.
Yeah, it's been
I
sliced in
feel
half.
terrible. Awful.
It sucks. I know it really sucks. I mean,
Great time of the year, but not a good time to be born.
No, I'm speaking of which. I mean, your kid
Yeah.
will be here a little bit after that.
Yeah.
So the cycle
He
continues.
says 5 weeks at this point, but we'll see.
Yeah.
These things don't go by the book typically,
No.
at least from what I've heard.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of so far away. It's almost like you got the worst case scenario because it's far enough away where it feels like he's distant from Christmas, where it's like, yeah, I mean, it's my birthday, right?
Yeah.
Christmas has been long over.
The dead of winter.
Exactly. The wallets are
It's not a
cold
bad time of
and
the year
dry.
down here, though.
No, certainly not.
Yeah. Apparently, it's going to be pretty bad on Christmas, though. My
The
gosh.
20s, right?
Yeah, they're talking about 26. I know that's a normal day if you live in Minnesota, but
For us, it's pretty crazy.
when you're down in the tropics like we are, that's pretty cold.
What do? Christmas Day, you wake up, you open the window,
Here I am.
it's snowing.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Didn't we talk about this last week? I wanted that white Christmas moment. where I
Oh,
swing
that's
through
right.
the barn doors of this giant building. And thousands of people that I care about are there.
I
I don't know
mean,
who these people are. People that I have known. I guess I don't know.
I'm dreaming. Oh, who are you guys?
Jordan comes, gets me backstage. Oh, you got to come see this. And we go out and we're like, oh, white Christmas. Let's do this. Swing it open. Merry Christmas, everyone.
It's like a staple, isn't it, at this point, though? And like not every, but most movies, when it's Christmas Day, outside the window, just snow is falling, and someone wakes
Yeah.
up like, wake up! It's Christmas!
It makes for a good movie scene, at least.
Oh, absolutely. Like almost every single one that I can think of, snow is falling down on Christmas
It's
Day.
also like, is there ever a better moment for it to be snowing than the day that like almost all businesses in the world are closed?
Yeah. That's
And like
very true.
everyone's at least hopefully at home in front of the tree with their family opening presents. It's like it might as well be awful outside because it's nice in here, I guess.
Exactly. I mean, we talked about this on the podcast, when we were talking about Home Alone 2, how,
Yeah.
well, our other podcast, but like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, when they went to Miami and it's just awful. And like, this sucks.
That's not how it is though in December. At
Who
least not
wants-
up in this part. It's never raining in December. Like, yeah, it's supposed to rain on Christmas Eve. but like usually these rains are like quick little things and then it gets really cold after.
Yes.
That's like the
Exactly.
weather pattern this time of year. It's in the summer when it'll like have these days sometimes where it just rains and rains.
Yeah, you don't get
I don't
the
know about that depiction of Miami.
that's a little unfair, I think, of it to be that
Yeah,
bad, yeah. Not
it
quite.
just fit well with their narrative.
Christmas sucks in Florida. I wish we were
We
in New
need to go to
York.
New York, where it was probably 18 and they just acted like it was wonderful.
I mean, I don't know what their expectations were. It's not like we're going to the freaking beach, you know? We're not like, "Oh,
Yeah,
man, we can go to the
yeah.
pool now." No, it's still too cold for that.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
just
it's still probably the high 60s or something,
yeah.
something like that.
Anywho, let's get into it. We're gonna start the show off like normal with our watching slash playing. I'm sure a lot of it will be Christmas related, but then we'll move into a little game, Christmas game we have prepared. Should be a time.
Yep, it'll be something.
Yeah. So I think you went first last week, so I'll start us off with what we're watching slash playing slash listening.
Listening to.
Very good. Um, I wanted to give a shout out to this one song. Did you ever see A Very Murray Christmas?
Yes. Hmm.
I think it's kind of weird and it's not great, but it's nice to have on the background. But there's this one song that came out of it that I'm like, I listen to every year, and I just wanted to give a shout out to it. It's called Alone on Christmas Day by Phoenix, the band Phoenix.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's just it was random in that special. They like play one of their original Christmas songs. I remember like kind of standing to attention, being like, "What is this? This is a good song. Holy crap!" And so like it's become one of our mainstays. Every year during Christmas, we'll pop on that song "Alone on Christmas Day" by Phoenix. Check it out.
I'm listening to it right now.
Oh yeah. What about you, man?
I don't remember it, but it's been a couple years since that special came out. So.
Yeah, and you may have completely faded away by the time that song actually came on. A lot of
It was a
weird
strange
stuff.
mix of I enjoyed it, but also it kind of dragged. It's like
Yeah.
I enjoyed some things about it, but yeah,
There's a lot of "what
it
am
was
I
all right.
watching" kind of moments, you know what I mean?
Yeah, those Christmas specials always seem so discombobulated.
Oh, yeah. Like
What is
the
going on?
Katie Musgrove or Musgrave or whatever, that one was just so weird and
Yeah.
awful. I'm just like, "What is this?"
So I recommended a Amazon movie last week called "I'm Your Woman." And I'm not recommending a movie, but in that movie there was a song by this guy Richie Havens, I think is how you say his name, um, called "Follow." That song's really good, but that's actually not what I'm going to recommend.
Oh.
So my dad had actually heard about him. He was kind of popular in the '70s. He's a singer songwriter type. He's got this like deeper kind of raspy voice, and he has this one album that I think he just one of those albums where it just seemed like a lot of songs came together at the right time. It's live at the Cellar Door and the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium. So it's like live performances he did,
Mhm.
and he does a cover of All Along the Watchtower, which interesting enough, who do you think is the original songwriter for that song, Jordan? Who would you guess?
Um, is it Led Zeppelin?
No, I could see you guessing that, but
Yeah, I don't know.
Jimi Hendrix is the one known for All Along the Watchtower,
Oh.
but he's actually not the original artist. It's actually oh, here I am talking and
Mozart.
talking. Can't remember. Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's
Oh.
actually the original songwriter for All Along the Watchtower, and Jimi Hendrix is best known for his cover of that, where he just has that just incredible like guitar riffs that he kind of adds in his own style with like the
Mhm.
slide and everything. You know how Jimmy is. He's one of my favorite guitarists. So, anyways, most people would probably know All Along the Watchtower from Jimi Hendrix, but
Or the movie
man,
Watchmen.
yeah, that's true. um, so I got the Sonos system, and I've just been listening to a lot of music in the living room, just enjoying like the full like sound stage that is those new speakers. And yeah, there's something about that song. It just sounds so good to me on those speakers. And he does something with the guitar. I don't know if he's got a second guitarist with him. If he doesn't, he's doing some freaking witchcraft because
15
it
fingers.
sounds like two guitars. It's just yeah, something about the way he strums it.
Hmm.
You should listen to it. It's a really good cover. Of course, that's just a great album. That's Here Comes the Sun is probably the best cover that he's known for. Of course, the Beatles song, but yeah, he's just got a good, unique like vibe to him. I'd never heard of him before I saw that movie and heard that song from him. So kind of a little bit of blues, jazzy vibe, but he's really just like a singer songwriter from
Okay,
the '70s. So yeah,
let's check that out.
cool cat,
What'd you say his name
Richie
was one more time?
Richie Havens.
Richie Havens. All right, cool. Richie Havens. So, a couple things. Mostly Christmas stuff is what I've been doing, but mostly what I've been watching. I've been playing some video games. So I think I mentioned before I picked up Mortal Kombat 11. It was on sale with all like the DLC and stuff, and so it's a good game, man. I mean, it's a great like NetherRealms has always been doing recently been doing this thing where they could put so much attention to the story mode, and man,
Hmm.
it's nice. It's nice just like playing a fighting game and having like, wow, this is just a well produced, well told story, and
Yeah,
it's great. I mean, I'm just having a lot of fun with it.
they kind of started all that with 10, right?
It was the one before it with one where they just called it Mortal Kombat. That's technically the ninth one, and they just continued that all through 10 and 11, and also the Injustice
Okay,
franchise. Um, yeah,
gotcha.
good stuff. So it's good that even if you're not like, oh my god, I just love playing fighting games. I just love playing against people online or like on the computer. If you get sick of that, it's great to have like a narrative, and it makes you also like. There's certain games where you're like, who are these people? You know what I mean? Where it introduces you to the characters where the witch you're supposed to be fighting. Whereas there's so many games in fighting
Hmm.
games, especially like back in the day, where you're like, here are all these people. I'm like, who are you people? You seem like people who are characters, but are you? And it's strange, but it's cool. I love um that trend, and I hope it continues. I'm sure they'll continue with it, but I think hope more fighting games do that. Um, Also been playing Spider-Man the remastered still. I platinumed
Hmm.
the main story. Now I'm actually diving into the DLC, which I haven't played before actually. And now that it's like packaged into this remaster, it's great. It's more Spider-Man. Really, that's what it is. It's not like, holy crap, this DLC is it's just like it's more. It's more story, more Spider-Man stuff. So it's great. It's great.
Miles Morales got IGN's fan game of the year.
Hmm, interesting. I wouldn't It's a great game, but interesting. Game of the year. Wow, it might be a little bit of recency
Well,
bias
fan
there.
game of the year. It was like the fan voted on
I see.
game of the year.
Wow,
Oh.
great. Good for them. That's a great game. Plethora of Christmas movies, Christmas specials. Uh, I'll start with this one because I meant to actually bring it up last week, but I forgot about it. The Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. So
Hmm.
it, it it's kind of interesting. I almost wouldn't bring it up, but there's something about it that I'm like, wow, I'm surprised they actually did this. The fact that like it takes place after Rise of Skywalker, and so it's like almost like a weird thing where like, oh, well, maybe this happened after the events of Rise of Skywalker. It's all about them they're hanging out in the Millennium Falcon. Rey is trying to teach Finn how to be a Jedi. Basically, she has the books and she's like trying to give him lessons. So I was like, oh, that's interesting that they kind of extrapolated that to be like, this is what would happen. Obviously it's not canon, but it's because it's a Lego Star Wars, but it's still
Yeah.
funny to see that they extrapolated that. But it's goofy. I don't have much else to say. It's obviously better than the original holiday special if you've ever seen that, which oof.
Yeah.
So
Definitely woof.
yeah, the Lego holiday special is like 40 minutes long, maybe less, and the original holiday special is like a lifetime long, pretty much, because you see your life flash before your eyes as you're watching it. It's something to behold, but it's a nice distraction. If you want an excuse to put Star Wars into your holiday and like watch something holiday related, sort of, even though there's no Christmas, it's definitely Life Day. They do their best to try to make it like Christmassy, even though which is a lot more than I can say for the original holiday special,
Yeah.
where they didn't even try. They're just like, we don't know what we're doing. All right. But yeah, I think it's fine, especially if you have kids. I mean, it's definitely goofy. Like, it's funny because they're like they make Poe into like this idiot kind of. He's like this really like he almost like acts like Star Lord more than Poe, and of course like there's a lot of time travel in it. They make the Emperor and Darth Vader like dopes. It's very silly, but
Very Lego.
oh yeah, it is what it is. Um, okay, so I continue down the path of Christmas, kind of Christmas garbage here. As I said, I'm watching. I'm trying to like understand why I do this. Like, why me and my wife like watch all these movies on Netflix, on Disney Plus, or Hulu, or wherever they might be. That we're like, this isn't gonna be good, and we make it point to do it. I think it's because like part of it is because it's like there's not a ton of quality Christmas movies that come out like every like
Yeah,
year. Doesn't happen. So it's not a thing.
very few.
And so it's almost like a way to be like, okay, we're gonna watch a new Christmas movie, a Christmas movie we haven't seen before, and it's like an excuse almost. So
Yeah.
so here we go.
So many that you've seen over and over again. I
Oh
know that
yeah.
feeling.
You just need a break sometimes, even if it's a
Yeah.
bad break.
You can only watch The Grinch Stole Christmas so many times.
Absolutely. And to the point where you can just like sing along to it basically.
Yeah. You just start to glaze over.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want that to happen, so you have to mix it up somewhat. So here we go. Disney Plus had one come out that's called Godmother. They promote it as a Christmas movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, a little
I haven't
bit.
heard of this one.
It's kind of like, okay, so it's Enchanted, the movie Enchanted. Basically, it's that. It's a
Oh, that does ring a bell, actually.
yeah,
I don't know
godmother in
anything about it.
training goes to help out some like disenchanted person or whatever. That's what it is. It's very much enchanted in that way. It's not very good. I don't really recommend this one, but there was a few times I laughed. Usually I would say if it was super Christmassy, I'd recommend it, but it's just a little bit a Christmas movie. Like if I were watching it like in the summer, I would be like, oh, this is like kind of a Christmas movie. But that's the thing, it's like kind of a Christmas movie. It's like there's parts, when like you're watching a Christmas movie or a movie that's supposed to be Christmas, and you're like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be a Christmas movie. It's you'll like hear a song and you'll be like, oh okay, I
So
guess.
it's like the fairy godmother idea? Is
Yeah,
that in the Disney world, basically?
I guess like she's like a fairy godmother in training, and she's like trying to save the godmother industry, and so
Isla Fisher, Jillian Bell.
yeah, she's like always in stuff, but she's never like starring in stuff very often. She's has her moments. It's one of those things where it's like sometimes when they make a character too stupid,
Yeah.
she's a little too stupid in the movie where it's like she's from another
The
world.
Jillian Bell's character.
Yeah, absolutely. And what they'll
Yeah.
do, like this scene happened, and I was like, "Oh, come on!" Like one of the kids, she thought she was homeless, the godmother, and so she was like, here's some money. Go get yourself some food." And she starts trying to eat the money. And at that point, I was like, "Oh, come on!" It's like she makes Buddy the Elf look like a genius. It's
Yeah.
like that's so stupid. And it's like, yeah, it's that sort of deal. And
Buddy
then,
the Elf is pretty endearing.
yeah, he is. He's likable. He's not to the point where he's too stupid. He's stupid,
Yeah.
but he's not too stupid to where you're like you kind of hate him for it. She's a little too stupid. But
He'd be
anyways,
more like E.T. version of not understand what's going on.
exactly. He's like you'd have sense enough. I don't know. It's I don't recommend that one. Okay, so I told you I was gonna watch this last week. I threatened you with it. Dolly Parton's Christmas on the Square.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Netflix one, and
Yeah, I never got around to it.
yeah, I mean, what it is, it's almost like it's almost framed as if it's like a stage musical, like like everything's like clearly a set, but it's also like how everyone's choreography is. It's like it's almost like they're blocking almost. It's a very strange kind of thing, but it is one of the cheesiest ones I've seen this year and last year, or probably from many of years. But you know what? It's fine. It's one of those things where it sets up expectations immediately. This is the movie. Either watch it and take it for what it is, or turn it off. And for what it is, it's okay.
Was it Christmas Carol based?
It is Christmas Carol-ish.
Okay.
The main character is a Scrooge-like character. She's not a Scrooge, but she's a Scrooge-like.
Hmm.
It's the oh my gosh, you're going to sell the town for money and we're here to change your mind. Or, Dolly Parton's an angel. She's like, I'm your angel, honey. you know, that sort of deal. But yeah, it is what it is, man. It is exceptionally cheesy. And you know what?
Yeah.
I'm for that. It's Christmas. I will inject that cheese directly into my veins if the time is right. But yeah, it was okay. I did not hate it. Um, One more thing I wanted to bring up because this is probably gonna be the last Christmas movie I talk about this year, and this is by far the worst one I've seen. This one is called Princess Switched Again. So this is the sequel to The
Oh
Princess
yeah.
Switch,
Yeah.
starring Vanessa Hudgens.
Yep.
We saw The Princess Switch when it came out a couple years ago. We saw it, and so we were like, "Oh boy, here we go, switched again." So the premise of the first one is okay. It's the Prince and the Pauper kind of deal. We were gonna switch places because we look exactly alike, but you're gonna fall in love with my man. You're gonna fall in love with whatever. It's that sort of deal. And the first one was terrible, but it was like they tried to make Vanessa Hudgens speak in a British accent. Now they added a third Vanessa Hudgens. I couldn't believe it.
It's like they can't take themselves seriously with that title.
No way. No way.
Title's like a Saturday Night Live kind of title.
Switched again.
Never stop, never stopping.
Exactly. Yeah, they didn't even attempt. And you know what? That this one was hard. Like usually I laugh through a lot of these things. Oh, how bad is this? That whole thing. Man, I was watching the clock on this one a lot, being like, is it almost over? Because it is bad. I don't know. It's just it's hard to explain why the so bad it's good crosses over to so bad it's bad. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain that. It's a fine line, but it fell over it hard. And oof. Can't believe they made Vanessa Hudgens play 3 different characters in this thing.
That's insane. I don't even know what that would look like.
Like one of them's just regular Vanessa Hudgens, the other's like, "Oh, I'm dignified," and the other's like a rich, like over the top excuse
Parent Trap kind of.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And whew, man, what a journey.
Oh, should it have been made? Probably not.
No, I can't. I honestly like my entire list of movies. As far as should it have been made, I don't know if it. I don't know if it falls under the yes category for any of these.
That could be a weekly thing that we announce. Like, should it have been made?
Oh man, oof. Things that I watch.
It's sad that a whole crew of people like spent time on some of these movies that come out, and I just scroll right past them on Netflix and say, "Nope." It's crazy how many people are making these movies that I will never see and have no desire to see. And
it's crazy. It takes so much
you
to
see and wish you hadn't seen.
Yeah. It takes a lot to make a movie, even a bad one.
I know.
And
it does.
It is crazy to think that the time spent and the money spent and the talent spent.
It's like technology has made it easier to make movies, but at the same time, because of that, we've just made the movies more complicated. So they're now even harder to make because we can make them more complicated.
We expect more because we have more, I guess. But yeah,
I like your sweater, by the way. That's a good sweater.
Thank you.
A solid Christmas sweater.
I appreciate it, man. I thought it would be
a PlayStation sweater, everyone on audio.
Yeah.
At the the square triangle XO and PlayStation logo with reindeer.
Yeah. Let's throw some reindeer in here in case you're confused that it's Christmas.
Is.
How about you, man? What have you been watching / playing?
Just a few things. We started watching the HBO show Flight Attendant. I think we just watched the first episode.
Heard good things.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely one of those ones that gets your attention. A little stressful. So one of those shows that yeah, at least Bethany and I probably would agree with her. You don't want to just like binge it. At least we don't want to. It's just it's too much. It's one of those thrillers where it's just like, oh, this is just stressful to watch what's going on here.
Heavy doc.
I'm trying not to go into any details, but I mean it's obviously just fiction, so it's not like just straight up depressing like some of those like murder mystery
Yeah.
like yeah, those nonfiction shows. It's just like, oh my god, these people are the worst. But this show is just like, oh, she is in a terrible situation. So it's shot well. It's Kaylee Kuko or Kuoko or whatever her last name is
Oh,
from
Kaylee
Big Bang
Cuoco.
Theory, and yeah, she's a good actress. It's interesting. I don't really know where they're going to go with it. It's one of those concepts that seems like it works really well in a pilot, but it'll take good writing to, I feel like, make it last.
Yeah.
It feels like the drama has kind of gotten to a point where it's like, okay, where are we going at this point? So I'll be interested where the rest of the season goes. Whether we finish the season, I don't know. We're kind of on the fence. It was good. So we'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
We're a little bit on the fence. It's high quality. I mean, it's HBO, so we typically have enjoyed most of the HBO shows we've watched, and this one seems pretty good.
There's always that question along with, is it good, or is this what I want to watch, and is this what I want to watch right now?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes the show's just good, and you just don't feel like watching it. Kind of like Game of Thrones. Like I didn't watch it for the longest time, and then I'm like, I don't want to be left out of this final season, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to power my way through
Right.
all 8 seasons.
Feel like it or not.
Yeah. So the other thing was we watched Just Friends like you did last week.
Yes.
Said you'd gotten it, so we jumped on your voodoo and
Jump on.
watched that. And yeah, that's one of those movies, kind of like I had said about what was it? I'll Be Home for Christmas, that I don't think people think about Christmas about.
Mm-hmm.
And I would argue that it's on the fence for me, or whether or not it's a Christmas movie, but it's enough of a Christmas movie that I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Christmas going on in the movie. I wouldn't say the movie is a Christmas movie. It's just very much set at Christmas. So
Yes.
I don't even know if they talk about Christmas like at any point. It just kind of is happening
Yeah,
like,
they'll always
within the story.
they'll throw a bunch of carolers in different scenes. That's
Yeah.
something I noticed that they did a lot. Like they'll do an establishing shot, and you'll see like the carolers, God rest ye merry gentlemen. And then you're like, okay, it's Christmas, but they don't
Yeah, and
talk
like
about it.
her house is like super decorated, and that's like
Oh
a big
yeah.
thing at the end of the movie. But yeah, they don't even talk about it. They do some ice skating, they play some ice hockey, and they talk about how cold it is. And he has chains around his Porsche.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's Ryan Reynolds, so I really enjoy like everything Ryan Reynolds has done. That's like Van Wilder. That was kind of my first introduction to him. I've always liked Ryan Reynolds. He's just got a really unique style. Such a good fast talking like comedy guy.
Yeah. That's such a funny movie. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Cracks me. Anna
Really good.
Faris is
Where
ridiculous.
is Amy Smart at this point?
Amy Smart. I think while I was watching it, I did look that up. Not much. I don't think she's doing too much.
She was so big for the longest time. Butterfly Effect, I
Yeah.
remember, kind of a big one back then.
It was in the like 2000s era where Amy Smart
Yeah.
thrived. I
Like
don't.
2004, 2006, like in that like time period, she was like really big for a little while. And she was great. I mean, she was great in that movie. I don't know why these actors fall out of glory in Hollywood for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't looking great. I mean, she still does work, but it's not a pretty sight as far as what you'd want to see on your IMDb page. There's a lot of low rent.
You can tell that
movies.
people are like in favor with the directors that are like making movies, because there'll be these actors and actresses that just get all the jobs
Mhm.
for a short period of time. Like Jennifer Lawrence was like in every movie for like a 4-year period or something. And I mean, I'm sure she'll continue to work, but like she hasn't been in as many recently. And
Absolutely.
who the lady that starred in Tomb Raider, like she was in so many things.
Yeah.
She was in The Man from Uncle, and she was in Tomb Raider. And she just like seemed like all these headline. She was in Deus Machina, Ex Machina.
Yep.
Yeah, can't remember her name, but yeah, there's like it's just weird. I guess you make these connections, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll put you in our movie. We'll put you
Yeah.
in our movie." And then it's like, "Oh wait, what's your name again?" A few years later.
This is how it is for Amy Smart in the last decade. This is the biggest thing in the last decade.
Uh-oh.
In the TV show, the DC TV show Stargirl, which is
Mm,
on CW, she is the main
mhm.
character's mom. So that's the biggest thing that's been in the last decade. Not terrible, but not great. But yeah, Amy
Makes you
Smart.
feel old, Jordan.
It really
Makes you feel.
does. She was the love interest. Now she's the mom.
Yeah,
That's us.
and she'd be the grandmother. Oh gosh.
No, I do not want to see that. That's too depressing.
So probably the biggest thing going on in my life when I do have time, which is not a lot because I just gutted my kitchen. Like I'm full on in doing as much remodeling as I can right now. So that's taking up a lot of my time. But when I do have a moment other than, playing a little bit of Call of Duty, I am just all in on Cyberpunk.
All right.
So I know we have a little bit of news with that, and maybe I'll just mention it now, just because I think it kind of is pertinent to my opinion. As my opinion has evolved and how I've played. The Cyberpunk has apparently been delisted from the PlayStation Store, at least
Hmm.
for now. I don't know. I guess that situation is evolving, but yeah, pretty crazy. They just removed it from the store. I guess there were too many refunds being issued, and Sony had enough. That's crazy. I never would have thought in a million years, that this is where we would be at this moment with this game that was hotly, hotly anticipated for quite a while now, and huge budget, like big studio that's done great games in the past, and I will argue has done it again, but I don't know. It's just crazy that we're in this place at the moment.
Yeah,
Um,
it's huge. I mean, seeing CNN report on that, it's crazy.
yeah.
You don't see them say anything about video games.
I was listening to another show and somebody brought something up that was very interesting. We had talked about like if you want to play this game, you should just buy a next gen console and just enjoy that experience. The other thing that I didn't realize was Jordan, these people who are on these consoles having these terrible experiences sign up for Stadia.
Oh yeah,
That is a cheap way to play it, and apparently it works really well on it.
that's what I've heard too.
So it's like $100, $130, something for Stadia. You get your Chromecast, you get your controller. Yeah, get it on Stadia if you don't feel like buying that.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
running on that 3080 in California and streaming to you. Apparently, Google has it working pretty well. So I don't know. I haven't played it, but cheap way to play. What I will argue is just an amazing game. I have just enjoyed it so much. The more I play it, the more I enjoy it. The
Great.
world that they've created is just gorgeous. Just I was blown away when GTA 5 came out. You and I talked about it. Just the level of detail, and that was 2013. I still think it looks great, but Cyberpunk, I will say, it just is an evolution of what GTA 5 did. They created this incredible world with like steam coming up. There's like ships flying overhead. Of course, people are walking by having conversations, and it's just so immersive for me. Like, and I know a lot of people are struggling playing with it, and that really sucks. But if you can get, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, like I think it's so worth it to play this game because when it is working well, like it's a great game, and I
Mhm.
think it's a really intriguing story. It's very interesting what they've done with Keanu Reeves. I think that's a really cool angle. Yeah, that I will say there's almost too much to do in that game. I have like at least 20 to 30 game like um what do you call them jobs like queued up in my list. And like
Jeez.
I've been doing jobs, like I've been doing it, but like my phone constantly rings in the game, like, "Hey, we need you over here. We need you to do this job. We need you to move
Yeah.
this product. We need you to steal this thing for us." It's just like a little overwhelming. I wish I could just be like, okay, I'm busy trying to do the main storyline, and I'd love to do these side projects, but like I'm busy doing all this. So
Yeah, it's distracting.
yeah. And I've already done like 50 jobs. It's crazy. The list is nuts, but I just really enjoy like well-designed RPGs, and I really like the character building elements they have with the clothes and the
Mhm.
weapons and all the little perk things you can upgrade. And yeah, I really like it. I love the hacking thing where you use like the scanner and you can hack like different things in like an environment as part of the story, or you can just do it when you're walking around the city. I like how like sheep or she, I'm playing she, but your character can like parkour over like objects as you're like running through the city. I think that
Yeah.
there's just like a cool feel to that. You double tap the B and she like does this like long slide. Yeah, I like the movements of it. It feels cool. It feels like you can climb over things that felt very clunky in a game like GTA 5. You didn't get that same feeling. Especially like you play first person in GTA 5 and it feels hacked
Ooh,
in.
yeah, no. Don't do that.
But yeah, and I like the movement. There's just so much I like about this game. It's just really cool. So I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I intend to play it eventually. It's not with the Series S. It's not like, oh, this game's a mess, like the same way it is for like base consoles. That's not the case. Like I immediately like this is playable for sure, but I have FOMO like really badly, and like when I started playing on the Series S, I'm like, this game, there's something really cool and different about this game, and I can tell it's super ambitious and super neat. And I want to experience this the best that I possibly can. And for me, it's probably playing it on the PlayStation 5 since I don't have a Series X. And to do that, I'm gonna go ahead and wait until that version comes out, that like for the patch next year.
Mm,
And then at that
could
point,
be a while.
could be a while, and
That sucks.
hopefully it'll be cheap at that point, and it'll be nice to just kind of after a lot of the bugs people are complaining about will probably be gone, and I'll have a next gen version that might have a ray tracing or something like that in there, and I'll be really happy to do that. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, the game is clearly good. I mean, regardless
Yeah.
of crashes and performance issues on other consoles or whatever the case may be, it's
Yeah.
clearly there's a good game there. Like I think it's
And
obvious.
honestly, I've had very minimal amounts of that. Like
Good.
every once in a while, there's some little glitches, but really, like a game like Fallout 4 was much worse. Like I also realized in the settings you can switch it from performance to like what resolution mode? I don't know
Yeah,
what they call it,
resolution
but
mode
basically
and
it's
performance mode.
higher. Yeah, you like it's not really 4K, but it does look higher, whatever that is. 2160 or I don't know something. Um, and so I did switch it to that, and it does look better. I enjoy it, but I will say you can tell it's not optimized because the frame rates definitely dip when you do that.
Okay.
And so, knowing how much horsepower is in the Series X, I think that it's probably not a fault of the console. It must be a
No,
fault
that
of the game.
shouldn't be.
So I just ended up switching back to the higher frame rates, and it's much better. Like you can really feel it when you like turn. It really starts to like not
Yes.
like really bad, but it just feels too sluggish for me. Where I'm just like, I'd rather that be smoother. Yeah, the more I play, the more I realize, like, I really think the frame rate is the thing that I really enjoy. I mean, it's wonderful having high resolution, but it's if it's, like, jittery, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't
Absolutely.
matter how amazing the game looks if it doesn't run smoothly. Yeah, so I think I'm kinda set in the idea if I can switch it to frame rate mode, I'm probably just gonna do that.
Mhm.
I'm just kinda frustrated that we're in a place where I'm playing a last gen game and I have to even wonder about that. You
Yeah.
would think that a next gen console could play a last gen console game, like, as fast as, the technology will allow it to, but
It's kind of like this weird Sophie's Choice kinda deal, and, like, I'm playing the Spider-Man games on the PlayStation 5, and they just added, like, a feature, which I'm like, "Wow, it gives more choice," and it's probably the choice I like, but jeez, this is overwhelming. They have performance mode and resolution mode, or I think they call it quality mode, which is what like kicks in the ray tracing and some of the other effects that they added in. But now they added a performance or like a 60 frames ray tracing mode, where basically, okay, they're like, okay, the resolution goes down a little bit more, but we add in ray tracing and it's at 60 frames per second. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's a sweet spot. I'll do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is kind of weird having to have these choices where there's so many other games where you're like, oh, you pop in the disc and it looks great, and here we go.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, it could look amazing or it could run amazing. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
So it's like kind of
I
weird.
mean, the game looks fine in either mode,
Mhm.
I'll be honest. Like, these games look great. Like, we're definitely spoiled on how good these games look at this point.
Yep.
So we're arguing over details, but you would just think, like, with the specs that they've said, like all these gigaflops of teraflops of processing power, that it just seems like it would be enough that at least like your full HD would be able to run at however many frames, the game is willing to push on it.
Yeah,
But
definitely. I mean, we're seeing some of that. We're seeing
yeah,
some
I
of
think
that.
it's just the development cycle. So I think, once we get a couple years into this, I think we're going to be getting some real quality stuff, and hopefully Cyberpunk will, catch up. I'm sure it will. I mean, GTA 5 has been upgraded along the way and
Yeah.
plays great now. That's super old, and I think Cyberpunk will be one that, I think, despite this really rocky start, I think it will even out and people will recognize, like, hopefully by the end of like next year, that this is a great game. That it really is. I mean, a really well scripted game. I don't know. I hate seeing that every piece that I see posted on social media, on the news, is negative. It's a real shame,
Yep.
because a lot of people put a lot of hard work into what I think is right up there with the top tier games of this year. So it also came out at this weird part where like awards and praises coming out for
Yeah.
last year's games, and that means by the time the talk is out, the end of the year, this game's gonna maybe be overshadowed by some other games that are gonna come out later next year. So
Yeah.
it's a real shame.
Yeah. Hopefully they figure some stuff out to kind of entice people. I mean, I hope. Because yeah, I agree. There's some good stuff there. It is being overshadowed by some of their faults, and a lot of that's their fault. But still, it sucks. Um.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and go on to our little holiday event
Let's
here.
start playing our game.
Let's start playing some games. Talk a lot about games. We're gonna play some games. So okay, here's the game. Basically, what we're doing is a movie, TV, games podcast. So we can't just sit around and talk about just Christmas when it doesn't relate to movies and TV and games. So what we're doing, we talk a lot about Christmas specials, Christmas stuff. I love that crap. Especially in like TV shows where they're like, here's the Christmas episode, and they like it's the characters having to do what they always do, but Christmas is related somehow. It's like, okay, we have to do the same thing we kind of do in every episode, but there's Christmas involved in this. I love seeing writers having to like force that in there. And so what I have here is a list of some movies, some TV shows, some games, and we're going to kind of go back and forth and try to see what it would be like if this thing that does not have a Christmas special would have a Christmas special.
Hmm.
And so I have like a random generator that will like pick something off the list, and we'll do each one for like a few minutes to try to like gotta parse it out. What I did with selecting these, I tried to make it to where, okay, Christmas exists in this universe. So it's not like Lord of the Rings where it's like, do they have a Christmas? Or even Star Wars, even though there is a holiday special, they had to make one up with Life Day. But
Yeah.
with this, Christmas should exist in this universe. And there has not been Christmas related things surrounding it yet.
Hmm.
And so, okay, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and go to the picker, and I'll start to kind of, and we'll bounce off each other to add our little ideas.
You're actually using something to generate these
Yeah,
topics?
just to make it random, I guess.
How did you make that?
It's an app. There's an app that has
So
like
you plugged them in, and then it's gonna like spin them for you.
exactly.
That's
I developed an app.
cool.
Download it today in the Apple iTunes
cool.
App Store.
Good idea.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pick one. Okay. So, this is the first one I'll start with, The Matrix.
Okay.
So, The Matrix takes place, I guess, in this world. I've tried to give as little thought to this as possible. So, what the thing about The
I've
Matrix
tried
is,
to give this a little thought as possible.
well, yeah, I don't want to like cheat and be like I've already thought of like plots for
Yeah.
these.
Yeah.
But I've had like maybe like a nugget of thought
Let
for
me
each
open
one.
my 55-page script I have worked up.
Well, so Neo says, "Merry Christmas, Morpheus."
The green pill day.
Take the green pill, and you wake up in a winter wonderland.
Forever.
So, what I would think, like I thought of this one idea for this, and I thought it would be kind of interesting, if the okay, cause every like Christmas special, there's usually one character who's like the one who's all about Christmas. It's like, oh, this one loves Christmas and is like
Right.
championing it.
Right.
And so I'd want to give that role to what's his name in Matrix 1? Like I this would take place after Matrix 1, I guess, and it would be the guy who's like, that's right, homegrown right here in Zion.
Oh yeah.
The tech?
The what's it? Shredded wheat guy or whatever he's talking about, the cereal.
No, not the tasty
That guy.
wheat guy. It's what's his freaking name? The one who's like, when he's like, you have no holes. That's right. Very exciting times if you are who you say Morpheus says you are, who we hope you are. The Matrix. Let's see, I'm looking up his name. I want to get his name right. Wow, he's far down in IMDb.
He works on the ship, right?
Yeah, that's right. Mr. Wizard. Oh well, it's not Switch. I think it is Tech. It's Tank. All right, so Tank. I think he's the one who's into Christmas. So I think in this world, what I think would be interesting if like the Matrix.
Yeah, that's the same guy I'm talking. He was talking about the cereal.
Oh, he was. I thought that was
is the
Mouser
guy.
or Mouse or whatever his name was. The one who was
I
like
thought he was. Maybe I'm remembering
the same
wrong.
guy.
I know who you're talking about.
The woman in the red dress.
His name is Marcus Chong. He's the actor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
I love that guy.
He was
That
good.
guy was like a warm presence on the ship.
That's very true. He was. That's why I said him, because he's like the
He
warm.
seems like such a likable guy.
Could you imagine? Be like, oh, you haven't heard of Christmas? Because that's the thing. What if the
Definitely.
machines couldn't quantify Christmas, and so the Christmas did not exist in the Matrix, and so he has to teach.
We find no purpose in this, so we will not put this in our world.
Exactly. We do not understand this Christmas.
Stupid human celebration.
So, okay, I don't know like what kind of adventure they'd have to go on that would lead them. We got to do this in order to do this, or else the machines are gonna wreck Christmas in Zion. But I'd imagine like there'd be a few details they get wrong because he has to like go
Could
back.
be a story about how they don't quantify it, and they were like trying to get it into the Matrix, like the journey that they have to take to get it in there.
He like put some Christmas trees.
Get this thumb drive to the main frame.
They upload It's a Wonderful Life to everyone's TVs, and they're like, "What is this Christmas? Shut it down! Shut Christmas down!"
Christmas spirit is spreading. We must stop it.
More people have been waking up more than ever now that Christmas has been uploaded into the Matrix.
Like Inception, once you get an idea, it spreads.
Exactly. That's so stupid. I love it. Can we make that in the next Animatrix? Where they have to spread Christmas.
Oh man, we'd have to work out the details. I think we got a good skeleton there.
I think we have a good start, and that's what it's all about, really. All right.
I doubt the Wachowskis are ready for that.
I don't know if they're ready for a very Matrix Christmas. I don't know. Like if I think Neo would very much be along for the ride, but I don't know. I don't know how every other character would react to the Matrix. Everyone would probably be along with Tank's enthusiasm, I'd imagine.
I can't see that group being into Christmas celebration. Carrie Ann Moss's character wouldn't quite be.
She does not seem like the kind of person to be like, and I love Christmas.
Yeah. I can't see her in a Christmas sweater.
No, certainly not.
She's got too much leather in her wardrobe.
Does it come in shiny black leather?
Shiny red leather, maybe.
All right, I'm picking another one. You can start us off on this one. All right, random generator. The Walking Dead.
Whoa, The Walking Dead.
You could pick any point in
Okay.
the series. So obviously, I don't think we know what's going on in the series right now. We are several seasons
Hmm.
behind.
So I am gonna go with when they go to the CDC in Atlanta.
Okay. It's like season 2, season 1.
So I'm gonna rescript basically what they were doing, and so that I can inject Christmas into that part.
Nice.
So before they found the CDC building and they were let in there, probably spoilers, but that was like
Oh,
season 3 or
please. Yeah,
something.
so
That
long
was a long
ago.
time ago. So it's starting to become winter. This is Atlanta, so it wouldn't have been that cold. But let's say let's replace that with they've now moved all the way up to like Virginia or something where they were trying to head, where it
Yeah.
actually gets cold. So let's say they realize it's Thanksgiving, the weeks before. And so
Hmm.
they hobble together a Thanksgiving, and then they say like, okay, well, we would like to make it to this point. I've heard of this place in, I don't know, upstate New York, where, I remember like when I was younger celebrating Christmases up there with my family. And there's this cabin where I know we'll be safe because there's high ground and there's an area where we could build a fence or
This
something.
is like
Like
Rick who wants to
this
do
is Rick
this.
Grimes.
Yeah.
This is Rick Grimes like leading his people saying like this is what we should do, and we should try to make it a goal to get there by Christmas because it would be great to finally be in a safe place. We've been on the road too long, people.
I
Like
will give Coral a safe Christmas.
Carl needs to know what it's like to sit in front of a Christmas tree and receive a present from Santa on Christmas Day.
Uh-huh.
That's going to be our goal. And so, they make it up there. And yeah, I don't know. I got off track with the CDC thing, but forget that. So instead, like that's what they end up doing, and they're able to like hobble together like a little bit of a Christmas, and they're able to find like some gifts and like a broken down Toys R Us. And they're able to like get Carl, like, I don't know. He wouldn't have electricity, so video games wouldn't make sense. But
Here's your Xbox you cannot use.
yeah, I don't know what. I guess some wood toys or something.
It's a new
like
machete.
a train set, maybe a train set for Christmas Day, and yeah, there's like a warm moment there where they're able to like they get to the cabin. It's
Hmm.
snowing. And they're able to yeah, like shack up for the night, and then like the next morning they wake up to a white Christmas, and they have a tree that they are able to hang some candles on. Maybe that might
And
be a
you just
cool
know
moment.
they would have to face at some point. There'd be like somehow a zombie
Yeah,
Santa Claus,
zombie
zombie in a
Santa
Santa
Claus. Yep,
suit.
the boss is here.
Oh,
The
God.
zombie boss.
And one of them says, "You gotta be kidding me!" Ho ho ho!
I think that could have worked.
Absolutely,
The Walking Dead should have done something like that. That would have been cool.
I would have been all aboard for
Maybe
sure.
cheesy, but it could have been cool.
Very good. I love it. I will totally tune in. All right. Next up, Indiana Jones. So
Ooh,
for Indiana Jones, I would
my
imagine,
favorite trilogy.
yeah, it would have to be a movie, I think, because there's not really a TV show, and so like, I think, with Indiana Jones, it has to be based around a Christmas relic of some sort, maybe like the
Yeah.
original manger or something like that, or
Hmm.
that it like the monks have been trying to bury it for years.
Maybe one of the gifts from the Three Wise Men.
Oh yeah, the frankincense or the myrrh or something like that. They're like, oh, it was held by Christ himself, and
Yeah.
I don't know if it has some like horrible power
By
to
Christ itself, we mean the one day old Christ.
it.
The
Exactly.
week old Christ himself.
So I don't know if like one thing I would hate if like if they get to like where the treasure is, the frankincense and myrrh or whatever, if like everything to get to it is based upon some sort of Christmas knowledge, or maybe like maybe okay. So how about this?
It would be some ancient text because that's like the thing. They're always reading like old
Yes,
scribes or like stone tablets that have been chiseled, and he makes a rubbing.
I would love this if this took place after the Last Crusade, and so his dad is there, and he's the one who's like, "Oh, Junior, you never understood Christmas. He has like the Christmas spirit, I guess. And so maybe that's what you have, like some sort of ghost or something like in The Last Crusade
Oh my
that
god.
tests your Christmas spirit.
That was
You,
such a weird thing. I guess he was a ghost, right? It's
I don't,
like
I've been here
it made
for
him
so
seem like a
long.
real person, but he was like 700 years old.
Finally, someone showed up. It's kind of what it seemed.
You know, there was the king that issued like the kill order for all the kids because he'd heard that there was a new king being
Yeah,
born.
King Herod.
So there could have been like some kind of like scribe or something that wrote a story that they found about that. So they'd know like the area or something where the order was given. And
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
there's a lot there that you could base that off of. I think
Absolutely.
that would work pretty well in Indiana Jones, actually. Don't know if I know
Anything?
how it would flow, but yeah,
Yeah, I
that
don't
wouldn't be
know
hard.
because like you don't know. There's nothing like with the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail. There's like some mysticism attached to like, ooh, it's powerful, but nothing is
Yeah,
the manger or like
yeah,
frankincense and myrrh haven't been like ascribed like holy power or anything like that.
yeah.
But it would be
It's true.
interesting. Or
Temple of Doom, yeah, it was like there's like this power in the stone. So
our only chance
yeah,
is when the Star of Bethlehem appears and Jupiter and
yeah,
Saturn align, which just happened.
yeah.
But maybe
That's right.
something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it probably would be. It will if it, if you're in the right place at the right time, it will shine light right upon the place that Christ was born.
Yeah. Oh,
Like when he reflects it off the medallion in the Last Crusade.
exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. That's good enough. Next up for you, Halo.
Ooh. Wow, that one's more challenging.
Yeah, because it definitely takes place
Hmm.
in like our world, but it's so far in the
But it's
future and
yeah,
so
it's kind of an
disconnected from Earth.
alternate version of our world too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It would have to star Master Chief, obviously, because as we've seen with Halo 5, anything that doesn't star Master Chief doesn't seem to turn out too good. So I think it would have to be something between Cortana and Master Chief, where Master Chief, and maybe it's after like some large battle where, you know, they took back like part of New Mombasa, because that's the first like place on Earth that I can remember in the Halo universe. And you know what? It could be very similar to like remember the beginning of White Christmas where they're like singing
Oh yeah.
with all the troops around. It
Sergeant
could be
Johnson there. He's
it
like,
could be something like that where it's like, at first it doesn't have anything to do with Christmas. It's about the battle and it's about like winning it back. But then like the battle ends and it starts to snow and it becomes winter and it's tough on the troops. It's gotten cold, they've lost their home. They're in this bombed out city and like Master Chief is just trying to like encourage the troops and so he brings them together for like a Christmas celebration which like includes like just like thank you for what you've done to like support the
mm-hmm.
USNC and Cortana maybe does some kind of song number during it. She's like projected in front of the troops and like
She
sings
totally
like
could.
Silent Night or something like that, like in a hologram form, like up on stage, just like the White Christmas thing.
I've
Could
checked
see
into
something
Earth's
like that.
records, Chief. I think this would be appropriate for this moment.
So yeah, it would be something like that, and then like yeah, some of the other characters would like come up and like say a word and thank Chief and yeah, I think it. I don't know what the main. There would have to be a thing because there's always a thing. Like in White Christmas, it was like the fact that like the general was no longer a general. Like that's really what the whole movie's about. Like them working to help the general feel
hmm
wanted and loved and all that. So yeah, there would have to be something between like Cortana and Master Chief. I'm not sure what that dynamic would be, but I know like the crescendo could be really cool in this like moment of like celebration of their win,
Maybe it'd be
over
like
the
a
Covenant.
weird thing because like maybe Cortana, some reason, like because she's looked at Earth's record, she's like she loves Christmas, but Chief is like, I was raised as like a battle clone.
Yeah.
I don't know what Christmas is. And she's like, oh,
I
it's
never had a
freaking great.
family to enjoy it around. Yeah. That there you go. That would be it. Like Cortana is helping to like bring this Christmas spirit to Master Chief, who can't even
Yeah.
contemplate this because he was basically a test subject in this, advanced Spartan warrior program. So
And a
yeah,
lot
I
of
could
these
see something like
things,
that.
like it seems like sometimes the plot is like what they have to do is something super generic, like, oh crap,
Yeah,
we have some troops that are are surrounded by Covenant. Something really
yeah, yeah.
basic, but it's just there's some Christmas going on around it is usually what it seems like in these specials.
And maybe for like one moment they make communication with the Covenant and they'll stop for the day of Christmas,
Nice.
all warfare,
I
and
can
like,
imagine the grunts like seeing some Christmas stuff and like loving it and being like trying to do some of
oh,
it.
oh,
Yeah. Oh,
like
Christmas
this
tree.
Christmas we do. You kind of have a Yoda similar voice, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They have a weird
A little
throaty
bit.
sound. Love it. All these things I really want. It kind of makes me sad. Like seriously, as stupid and
I
goofy as a
know.
lot of this is, I'd love it. I'd love it so much if there was a
These things would never happen, but it's like you can make cool Christmas things out of anything.
come on Halo DLC.
It's just about like the spirit of community and like of loving each other, and yeah,
Exactly. I've been
that's
watching
all it
so
takes.
many. Like I search these out. Like this is a little interlude. I search out for like Christmas specials. Like if there's a show on like a streaming service and like I know of the show, I'm like, was there a Christmas episode of this? And I'll like
Yeah.
look for it. Like going on like Disney Plus, they actually have a section for it where they're like, oh, here's the Christmas episode of Guardians of the Galaxy, the animated series. And I'm like, oh, what? And so it's so funny seeing how they like try to make it Christmas. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like
Um,
Harold and Kumar, they did a whole Christmas movie.
yeah, Christmas movie, exactly.
That had nothing to do with Christmas before that.
No, come on, we can do this. All right, we'll do a few more. All right, next up. Okay,
Ding.
Terminator.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's so many possibilities with this one because you're like, when does it take place and in like what timeline does it take place?
Yeah.
Is it like a ruined future or is
That's
it
the
like
hardest part about Terminator, always.
exactly?
Crazy timelines.
You know what? I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go with Terminator Genesis.
Hmm.
Reason being, okay, so Sarah Connor is a younger person here.
That's the newest one, right?
That's the second to newest one. The newest one's Dark Fate,
Oh, that's right.
and the one before
Genesis
that,
one was the one where Arnold came back for the first time in a long time.
With Emily Clark. Emily Clark was playing
Yeah. Hmm.
what's her face, and so I would say this takes place in that universe because they're like a mother and daughter thing. So there's like the most opportunity for like time spent and also some heartwarming thing to happen.
I don't know if I've seen that one. I may have missed that one.
It is all right.
Yeah, that may have been why I missed it.
Yeah, it is okay. I was kind of ready to go with what they were bringing. Actually, I was like, all right, let's see what you do next. But it never happened.
Yep.
So they were like, no, we're doing it over again. Again. So I would imagine, okay, so this is what I think it is. So in that this I guess minor spoilers for Terminator Genesis. So the plot of that is like the Terminator the Terminator comes back and saves Sarah Connor from another Terminator that comes back, and it like basically raises Sarah Connor because this Terminator like kills her parents. And so this Terminator is like her father figure. And so I remember in the movie, this is like a brief thing. I remember she makes drawings, like little crayon drawings as a kid, even though most of the movie is focused around her as an adult. And like the Terminator was like connected to those drawings. So it'd be interesting because she like misses her family. And so Sarah Connor is making these drawings of Christmas with her family because she misses her family. And so the Terminator is like, I don't know what to do to make you feel better, but I've been seeing these drawings and there's something here. And so he like tries something like making a Christmas tree and it like looks awful. And Sarah's like, what are you doing? And they like try to like somehow make a Christmas out of that, I guess. And they'd probably inject another Terminator bot into it. I imagine this is like taking place in the middle of that story because like obviously Sarah grows up and like goes on another adventure here, but this maybe would take place after she starts being raised by the Terminator. but before the events play out in Terminator Genesis.
So confusing Terminator timeline.
Awful.
Especially when you introduce new characters, like where were they during these events and how did they fit into these other events that have already happened?
Exactly. Awful. This would be like Terminator the animated series. I cannot imagine there being a
Yeah.
movie based around this like at all. This would be I don't even think the Sarah Connor Chronicles could cover this. But yeah, that's all I got from Terminator. I did not think about it at all, but
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one because like that plot just goes and goes and goes. There's no like stopping. There's no like.
It's hard to not make Christmas stuff goofy, honestly.
Oh yeah,
it's hard to not just throw Santa in there and make it goofy.
Why didn't I think of just throwing Santa in there? Shoot. And then Santa comes and
Terminator Santa.
Yeah. I detect the presence of another life form. Are you?
It's the Grinchmas 3000.
A Terminator Santa.
It's the G2000.
You will not steal Christmas from Miss Connor.
Of the T1000.
And of course, he'd have to say like something like one of his one-liners, like "ho ho ho" ho or something dumb, where we're supposed to laugh but we don't.
Isn't this holly, merry and bright?
He does one of those weird smiles. I think that happened in that movie where he had to smile and it was weird. So yeah, that makes sense. All right.
It's a fact that robot's heart was built 3 sizes too small. It's just a fact. It's a manufacturing fault. He didn't design it big enough.
Do they teach a robot a lesson in this? I do not understand. Oh no.
Why am I leaking from my eyeballs?
Oil is coming out.
They immediately goofy.
We got it. Well, I think that's it. We did it. It's as good as it gets. All right. Next
That's
up.
a Hallmark movie.
That's definitely going on.
A
Hallmark.
dark Hallmark movie.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Lost.
Whoa.
My favorite chair's falling apart. Sorry.
So they didn't do any like things in Lost, did they?
I was always waiting for a Christmas episode, and I remember this is as close as they got. It's the episode where Saeed and Desmond are on the submarine, and they look at a calendar, and Saeed says, "I didn't realize it was this close to Christmas." That's it. That's it. So no, we didn't get a Lost Christmas special.
So I think it could be cool if it was in the period of Lost when they're flashing between the others and what was going on in their community and like the main tribe, whatever you want to call them. And I think it would be cool where they have like, they show like what the others are doing for Christmas, and then they show what like our main, like, you know, Kate and Jack are doing to like celebrate on the island. But then you also flash back to the childhoods of some of the main characters like Kate and Jack, and you see like the contrasting versions. And then you flash to Sawyer's like abusive family during Christmas. And like you really see why in the present day that you're in during this episode, why those people are reacting the way they are to what the other people are saying. So maybe you have like Hugo having like a really warm moment at home with his family around the Christmas tree, and like maybe, you know, he has a special recipe that he whips up because like that's like one of his big things in the show. It's like he's a big chef, and maybe he like, you know, he's sharing with his mother, and they're having like some Spanish traditions like cool things. And so like you have Hugo like or Hurley like encouraging people like we should put a tree together, like we should try to find gifts for each other. And you know, he's trying to get like Locke to like, you know, could you like play us some music, or, you know, are you able to like make a guitar or something so we could like sing some Christmas carols? And then you have like Sawyer like totally like the sour side of it, and like Christmas has always been a bah humbug for me, like all through my life. And you have like flashbacks to like
Bah
I mean, we
humbug,
we
Doc.
know how tough things were for Sawyer in the show. So like, the reason why he's like so spiteful to people and like he's always like conning people. And so I think it could be like you could really turn that into not a goofy Christmas thing, like a real thing about like how Christmases affect people and like it reminds me of in oh gosh, what's the Jingle All the Way. So Jingle All the Way, they like when they introduce what's his name? The mailman.
Oh,
He talks
gosh,
about
I
like
forgot.
anyways, like he talks about how when he was young and he didn't get the gift, like how it affected
Christmas
him
was
later
just
in his
another
life.
opportunity for my old man to let me
Exactly.
down.
And that could be like Sawyer's point of view in the show.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then like some of the others, I don't really remember all their names. I'm trying to like look through.
Do maybe like Sawyer and
Like
like Jack can
Ben and
bond
his
over that.
daughter, like Ben and his daughter, there could be a dynamic there and
Ah, nice. Yeah, with
like
Alex.
history of like tough things. Yeah, I don't know how all that would play out, but I mean, all these characters, like they've developed these characters so well in that show. There's so much that could be there with Jack and with Jen and yeah, Kate. I mean, obviously,
Hmm.
that's what's so cool about Lost is they've developed like such unique characteristics to each one of these people. It just there could be so much there, and I think it would be a cool dynamic where here I am like saying so many things, but it would probably be too much for one episode. That was one of the cool things they did with Lost is they focused on like two or three characters.
Yeah, you'd probably want someone else doing like something plot related, and then
Yeah,
like just to move the story forward a little bit while all this is happening. Like maybe
yeah.
Saeed's off doing something, but like he's trying to get
I
people
think I
on
think it would be
board.
a good dynamic between Sawyer and Hurley because they have such contrasting personalities in the show that Sawyer could be the bah humbug and Hurley could be the like you know Santa Claus basically for the
Yeah,
island at the moment, like trying to bring joy to everyone.
there could be a great moment like at the end where like because like Jack had a rough childhood a little bit too, not so much, but like tough with
Yeah.
his dad, and so
Hmm.
maybe there's like a moment of acknowledgement with like
Yeah.
him and
With
Sawyer,
Sawyer, he like
like
talks to Sawyer like I know what you're going through, man, but this is for everyone.
exactly, we
Live
need
together,
this. And I
die
think you
alone,
did,
kind of thing.
yeah,
Sawyer.
exactly. Imagine Charlie would be he'd be the first one that Hugo wrangles along. He'd be like,
Yeah.
let's do this. But he's like,
You're like,
yeah, that's a good
think
idea.
you can sing some songs for us?
Exactly. That'll be so
You ever
good.
find that guitar? Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. Man,
That's
I
probably
wish they
the
did it.
easiest fit of all
Yeah.
that we've talked about.
Yeah, there's a lot of that's why I always was like, this is a given. Why is there not a good Christmas episode? But no, whatever. Whatever, it's fine. All right, we'll do a couple more, maybe one or two more. All right, next up. Hold on, cycling through them again. Maybe this isn't as great as I thought. All right, here we go. Back to the Future.
Mm,
Um, there's
heck yeah.
there's so much you could do with this, and it's hard to find a spot where it would like work. I think it would have to take place after part 3, maybe, because Doc would be the only one that would have a time machine at that point. Because other than that, like the plot just keeps going all the way from 1 through 3, so there
Yeah.
wouldn't be a real organic time for it to happen and them to have a side quest.
Yeah. Or maybe a prequel, but then you wouldn't have the time machine. So
Mm-hmm.
it would just be Christmas time in our town.
Yeah.
And there's this guy, Doc, that.
I would imagine like with there because there's a couple ways you could do it with Back to the Future. I don't think they would go the route to actually witness the birth of Christ like they said in the first movie where they said go back to witness the birth of Christ when he actually gave
Yeah.
that as an example. I don't think they would do that. I think it would have to be almost like a Christmas Carol kind of deal because with that you could
Or
actually
maybe something that like soured his parents' experience of Christmas. And
Mm.
because of that, the parent had then soured Christmas for them in the future. And it's like maybe they're like, well, this sucks because I didn't want to have to grow up. I just thought of the most ridiculous thing. So it's always sunny in Philadelphia in the Christmas special with what's Danny DeVito's character. his tradition is to buy his kids all the things that they've asked for in the world, their dream gifts, and give it to himself and not give it to them. And he uses them and plays with them. So in like the present day, he buys like this amazing like vintage Lamborghini, and he buys this like super expensive handbag that D wants, and he like fills it with cheese puffs, and he's like, driving the
That's
Lamborghini
right.
like an idiot and side swiping it. So it could be something like that, but maybe not as goofy. Where it's like, you know, sorry, I took over.
No,
This was your
no, that's really funny. Yeah, but I don't know, like, cause you with Back to the Future, with all of the movies, there's always something they have to fix.
yeah.
But I guess that's not really the case because in number 3 is about preventing something and changing fate because it's about Doc. Oh, you die. We have to
Yeah.
stop that. And so
Yeah.
I'd imagine it would have to be something along those lines, like Marty, you wind up like having this problem and you have to like on Christmas and you have to like go back to different Christmases to figure out what you need to do. I don't know if it's something that has to do with him and his girlfriend or him and his family. Maybe
Mm.
like
See what happened was last Christmas I gave you my heart, and then the very next day you gave it away. We got to go fix that.
well, we if only we listened to that song, we could have figured that out. I don't know if they'd be willing
Marty,
to
you broke
risk.
up on the 26th. We got to go back.
I don't know. It's really much repeating a lot of the things that they did in Back to the Future too. But
Yeah.
but maybe this would fit in Back to the Future, the animated series, which is actually a real thing. Is there not this? Is this not a thing actually? I did not actually do the due diligence to look up whether or not there already exists a
Huh.
Back to the Future Christmas episode.
I didn't know there was an animated series.
Yeah, there was. Oh boy. Not bad. It's fine. Christmas episode. I'm looking this up in real time. Christmas episode. Oh my god.
Whoa.
There
this
it
one's
is.
go.
The episode is called Dickens of Christmas.
Wow.
So I lose, but here is the plot.
I lose.
I'm going to go ahead, instead of coming up with it, I'm going to go ahead and read you the plot. Trying to beat the summer heat, Doc Brown takes all out to London
Oh, wow.
on Christmas Eve, 1845, where they encounter citizens who may have inspired Charles Dickens'
Yeah.
characters in A Christmas Carol, Oliver Twist, David Copperfield, and others. Wow, that sounds
Not
very...
a terrible idea.
No, that sounds like a good idea.
Hmm.
Why didn't I think of that?
Interesting.
Well, there's that one. So let's go ahead and wrap this up with this last one, and you'll do it. Okay, it's like there's like kind of cycling wrong, so I'm gonna go back to my list and just kind of pick one.
Pick a doozy.
A
A
doozy,
real doozy.
a real doozy. Gosh, I'm having trouble finding them for some reason. All right, so here we go. I don't know. Okay, so Scream.
Oh, that is a doozy.
That's a doozy, but the only reason I picked it
Hmm.
is because I thought of one line, and that inspired the entire thing. Ring, 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 ring. Merry Christmas, Sydney. And that inspired the entire thing for me to put it on the list.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that one. You've watched those more recently. I don't. That one's tough.
Well, it's like it's difficult with a lot of horror movies like that because like it's like the killer doing
Yeah.
the exact same stuff, but it's Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all it would be, really, is it would
That
be
was
like,
Black Christmas, Jordan.
oh my god, no, no, not Black Christmas.
Yeah,
That was last Christmas where we had to mope and
yeah.
groan about Black Christmas. Oh Lord, have mercy. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough because I mean, it's really just the same thing in all those movies. It's just who is it? So I guess this time it would be an elf or something. I
Ah,
don't
what?
know.
It's an elf?
He's secretly an elf. He's been pinning his ears back. I don't know.
It's always like a different person. It's weird, always weird to me how in every single movie they're like, remember me, Sydney? I'm like, well, you're a different person with the mask. And so, no,
Yeah,
I
of course.
don't remember you. And so when he's like, Merry Christmas, Cindy, it's like, okay, it's just going to be them going to like Christmas parties. And at the end, it would have to be the guy's like, has some grudge against Christmas.
Yeah.
Because it's always about Cindy's mom. And so it's like, oh, Maureen Prescott stole the only Christmas I would ever have. I don't know.
Or he got a terrible gift or something and he's never forgiven them.
All I wanted in the world was
Remember that white elephant when you gave me fart spray? Never forgiven you.
I've heard of dumber reasons for them to go crazy in these movies, so why not?
Yeah, Black Christmas is a good example.
That's a white elephant gift I will never forgive. Your mother, Cindy Maureen Prescott. Wait, what? Why is she involved again? Yeah, that was a weird one to end on, but hey, it was a fun idea while it lasted. You can only come up with so many of these.
That was a good one.
Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful,
Holly jolly Christmas.
yeah, wherever you are, whoever you're with, enjoy yourself and watch something that lifts your spirits.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Watch I'll Be Home for Christmas if you haven't seen it.
oh yeah, Disney Plus, it's on there.
Yep.
Almost everyone has it, so there you go. We'll probably talk about The Mandalorian next week, I imagine. It's probably all
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, so
there you go. Yeah.
I need to.
Yeah, we ran out of time. So yeah, we'll talk about it next week. So stay tuned for that. But if we do it next week, I'm not sure if we're gonna take a break or not. We haven't talked about it yet. But either way,
Yeah.
thank you guys. Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Ho ho ho.